What's going on, guys? This week we're back out here on the Catalina build again. If you're new here, this is my 59 Pontiac Catalina. Had been sitting for roughly 40 years and we're just trying to get back on the road. Last video we did all of the floors, and before that we put the motor in here. If you've been following along, I did end up finding some headers that fit this. I got lucky and I was just looking around, and I saw these ones, thought they'd fit. They're actually for an 88 to 98 Chevy four-wheel drive pickup truck, and they actually clear everything just fine. My biggest concern was the steering box, so we got lucky on that. But anyways, in this video this week, I would love to have this thing running in the car. We got some drive shaft stuff to figure out. We got a complete exhaust to build, that is the thing that I do not like doing the most, is building exhaust, and we have to build this one from scratch. So I ordered a bunch of stuff for that. We'll get it all mocked up. There's a couple parts that I'm waiting on. They're supposed to show up today to finish putting on this to get it running. I still need the water neck, some other little things. I got some different valve covers on the way. This is just an air cleaner I had sitting around. It's not the one I'm going to use. That's actually off of the Camaro from when I originally bought it. It's just been sitting on the shelf. The filter element is trashed in it, but like I said, I just sat there to keep some dirt out of it. But I think what I'm going to work on first is mounting this radiator. Once again, you can't buy parts for a Pontiac, so I'm having to just find stuff to make it work. I did some measuring, got on the old Google, and I ordered one for a 64 Impala. It's really close to fitting. We might have to do some modifications to it. We got to build a fan shroud for it. Then we're going to have to figure out hoses. But I'm going to go grab that, and I think that's what we're going to get started on. We'll get this radiator in here. After we get the motor knocked out, I'm still waiting on some exhaust stuff. Those are supposed to be here, I think tomorrow. But anyways, I'm going to grab this radiator, and we'll start getting that knocked out. Alrighty. Like I said, this is not for this car, so we're gonna have to make it work. Throw that over there. Went ahead and went with a 3-core aluminum. Might as well do this part right. You need it to cool, so get out of here. So hopefully we can make it somewhat line up. Well, I know we can make it line up, but I got some vice grips here. I'm just going to clamp these on here to hold this for now until we kind of figure out what's going on. If my left hand is strong enough to do this. Come on. Squeeze it. There's one side. Get on there. Alright. I think we're still a little high, but we'll figure that out. I'll get you guys in here a little closer so you can see. Maybe we can squeeze some bolts in there. It's a little bit skinnier than the factory mounting tabs, but we might get lucky and there'd be enough material there to grab a hold of. But we'll find out here in a minute. And also, we might have to bring it up some. It just sucks because I don't know about hood clearance. Either way, I'll show you guys. Alright, so this would be the factory mounting spot here. We're about halfway on both sides. Same over here, about halfway. Maybe we can just notch this hole all the way out, and then we can drill a hole. It'll hold it in there. And then as far as the fan is actually above the top of the core. So it might make it a little goofy for building a fan shroud. Well, I guess it's below it too, so. I do have a smaller diameter fan. We might switch to that one. I'll have to do some measuring on it. That way it's easier for building a fan shroud, because I'd like to just come straight off of here. But it's gonna run into the top of the fan, so. Let me do some thinking, some looking, and I'll be right back when I figure something out. Okay, so I think I got a pretty good idea on how I'm gonna get this mounted in here. On the back side, I'm gonna take some little tabs of metal and weld them to the core support hanging out. Bring them out about an inch, and then I'll drill a hole through this way. That way I'm not depending on just a little bit of metal here that's grabbing on. So I'll go down here where there's good metal. We'll drill the hole here, put a little tab on there. We'll make 4 of them. Put one at the bottom, one at the top on each side, and that should hold that in there just fine. I mean, that's what they did from factory anyways, and I think that's gonna work. We'll probably cut that out of this here. It's pretty thick metal. I've had it sitting here for a little while. And also, I'm gonna make the fan shroud out of that. I'm just gonna cut a square the size of the radiator, the core, at least that is. It's gonna have to come up a little higher in the center here, but we'll cut that, and then we'll cut the circle out, and then I have some thinner sheet metal that we'll make the circle out of, and we'll bring that back off the flat sheet to about halfway on the fan, and then we'll have a fan shroud. So I'm going to run and get some bolts to get that in there. I need some other bolts for the drive shaft anyways, and then we'll start cutting on that sheet and get some tabs welded in here and get this radiator mounted. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I got these 4 little tabs cut out, and the plan is to take these and we're just gonna slide them in here. You guys can't see that. Slide it in here like this, and then I'm just gonna weld it to the core support, and then we'll just through bolt it. So I'm gonna take a paint marker. I'll hold this up here where I want it. I'll mark it, mark all 4 of them. Then I'll pull the radiator back out, and we'll grind the paint off. Get these tacked on there, because I don't want the radiator in there while I'm welding, because we've had a bad experience before where a weld berry melted a hole in a brand new aluminum radiator. So we're not going to chance that. So I'm going to get that knocked out real quick, and we'll move on to the fan shroud. Alright, so these are all welded in. I went ahead and drilled through. That way I knew the holes would line up. We ran some bolts through there. And now this thing is not going anywhere. It is really stout. And then I went ahead and cut a chunk of that steel off and cut it to fit on here. Drilled the holes out to match holes that were already in the radiator. So after that, now I had this real thin metal here. It's not real thick at all, it's pretty thin. I cut this chunk off here, as you can see, and just kind of folded it up. It's real flimsy, so it's wasn't that hard to bend up. I'll clean it up, get all the blue off the one side. I'll get you guys set up on the tripod here, and I'll show you what I'm gonna do next as to get that on there. Okay, so this piece here, like I said, just kind of folded it around. I'm gonna take this, slip it under here like so, put it together like this, and for now I'm just going to put some vice grips on it to hold it, about like so, and then this will get welded to this. Once I get the diameter set right, I'll just weld this seam up, and then I'll put that on the bottom so you can't see it. But and then also, from what I've gathered, really you want the fan to be half of the blade sticking out. So with the angle of the motor, obviously you can see the top's hanging out, but the bottom is down inside. So after I get it tacked on here, I'm gonna have to go around on the inside and I'll mark it, and then I'll trim it back later. So it's gonna be skinnier on the bottom than it is at the top, but that'll be a project after it's on here. Also, it is taller at the top here. That's fine. I'll cut a little piece and fill in the top, same as on the bottom. There's probably a 1/2 inch gap between here and the core, so there should be plenty of airflow in there. If there's not, later on I'll redesign this, but I don't see us having any sort of problem with that. So what I'm trying to do next is I need to space this evenly around here, which is not the easiest thing. So what I think I'm going to try to do is, I got some old fuel line. I think what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to take this back off. I'm going to tape these to the top of each one of the fan blades, and then I'll snug this up, because I cut it a little big on purpose, because I knew I wanted some clearance, and I don't see why this wouldn't be enough clearance between the blades and the shroud. Seems like it'll work to me. But I'm gonna get these taped on here, or maybe they'll just stay in here because they got the right height. But anyways, I'm gonna get these on here, and then we're just gonna tack this. I'll pull it all back out, and then we'll have to cut the hole out, and then it should be pretty much done. We'll clean it up, we'll paint it. But I'm gonna take this back apart. I'll get these taped on here, that way we'll have the even gap. And yeah, I don't see why this wouldn't work. So I'm gonna get to getting these all figured out. It's gonna be a lot of fiddling, trying to get these to stay on there and whatnot. So I will be back once that is finished. Alright guys, so that worked out perfectly. There's plenty of clearance. You can get your finger in it just about all the way around. There's a little bit bigger of a gap down here where the seam is, but I'm not worried about that at all. Still got to cut the piece to fill in up here, and one on the bottom. And then I'm going to mark to where the fan is sticking out halfway all the way around, which won't be too hard to do. Just stick a Sharpie in here and hold it on the blade and mark all the way around. And then we got to cut the hole, clean it up and paint it. And that'll be our fan shroud done. Thinking of a way to seal in here. It's not a very big gap, but I don't know. Maybe we'll try it out the way it is. If it doesn't seem like it's cooling the best, maybe we'll try to put some like strip of rubber in here or something on the top and the bottom. But I think it's going to work out just fine. But it's getting too late tonight to be working any longer, and I got to get to work in the morning. So We'll be back out here tomorrow after work. We'll tear this back out. But now, unfortunately, either the fan has to come off or the radiator's got to come out just to get this out. So it is what it is. It'll be all right. So yeah, I'll be back out here tomorrow and we'll keep on plugging away at this thing. Alright guys, we're out here on the next day. As you can see, I went ahead and took this apart and I've been doing a little bit of work. Figured I'd show you guys before I cleaned it all up. I cut the circle out and then filled in these two pieces. This thing's still warm, but I just figured I'd show you guys before I prettied it all up. It's gonna work just fine. And I also drew the line and trimmed it. You can see now that it's actually tapered back. So just gonna keep on working at this thing. I got still some grinding to do, some painting, all that good stuff. So I'm gonna set you guys up and just knock this thing the rest of the way out, and I'll show you when I'm done with it. Alright, so this thing's all painted up and looking great. It even has some texture on here, so it might make it look more factory. But while this is drying, I figured I could show you guys what's going on with the drive shaft. I've got some things figured out, and I'll just climb underneath here and explain to you guys what I had going on and what I figured out so far. Okay, where do I start? When I fixed the drive shaft, I did get a new universal in here. So the problem I had was I had the yoke, but I didn't have the bolts or the U-bolts. Factory, this is supposed to take this style of U-bolt. Well, this is what I ordered for this car, and as you can see, it is not even close. So what I had to do was I'm going to convert this to this style. I'm just going to through bolt it all the way. I did buy some grade 8 bolts. I'm going to double nut it just to be safe. But then the other issue I was having was, I don't know if you guys can see how tore up this thing is. The holes were almost smashed flat, but I did end up getting them reamed out and straighter. So these are going to fit now. I don't see why through bolting this would not work. The only difference between it being through bolted and what it would be factory from this style is factory, this would be threaded and the bolt would just go into it. So like I said, I'm going to through bolt it and then double nut it on the back, that way it can't come apart. And that should be our drive shaft figured out. So I'm going to get this thrown back up on there, impact it down, and hook it all up, and hopefully it'll stay together. So, oh, and the other issue with one of these is Pontiac uses their own splines, and once again with this car you can't order Pontiac parts. So my only option was to replace the entire center section with a Chevy center section, because you can't buy just this, because I was going to replace it because these are pretty tore up. So we're going to try and make this work. If this ends up not working, I guess we're going to have to change the whole center section, because I've been told that this center section and a Chevy center section will interchange. It's just the internals are different and the spline count is different. So we're going to make this work for now. If it doesn't work, we'll swap it out later. So I'm going to get to throwing this all back together, and then hopefully by then that fan will be dry, fan shroud, and then we'll go throw that back together. Okay, so that's in there. As you can see, it's fully seated, and I don't see why that won't work. So we're gonna roll with it. If it gives us problems, we'll figure out another solution. Okay, well, I'm impatient, and this thing is still tacky, but I really want it on here, so maybe we'll only put our fingerprints on the inside. But regardless, we're putting it on here. Get up on there. Okay. Oh yeah, definitely tacky on the inside. That's all right. I just want to see what it looks like. What's funny is it's gonna be the shiniest thing in here, because everything else is covered in dust and all that good stuff. So I'm just gonna throw this thing on here loosely. That way I can get an idea, because I didn't check it after I cut the bevel. I just want to make sure that it's going to clear everything that needs to clear, which it should. Man, kind of looks like the ocean. Somebody didn't do a very good job cutting that. Alright, I'm going to grab the fan. I can tell you this though, when I pulled it out, it was quite the puzzle piece to get it in there. Oh, scratched it. Dang it. Well, I think it's actually perfect. Well, that's it. That's what it's going to look like. I'll get you guys a little closer so you can see. Alright, like I said, the fan is sticking out halfway, all the way around, and it does clear. I'd spin it, but it'd fall off, probably poke a hole in my fresh radiator. But you guys let me know what you think. I think it's going to work fine. If you think different, let me know. I don't see an issue with it. So yeah, there it is. Alright, I figured I'd finish bolting on there so I could show you guys it at least spinning. And yeah, it's going to work out just fine. Now, whether or not it helps cool it, to be determined. But not sure what we're going to get into next. The mailman is really holding me back on this one. Kind of waiting on parts at this moment in time. And it is Monday. This video goes out on Thursday. We're going to do what we can do. So I'll be back when I get some more parts for this thing. What's going on, guys? It's the next day. I just got home from work, and unfortunately the mailman has let me down once again. My plan was to have this thing running in the car for this video, but it's not gonna happen this week. So we're gonna have a slight change of plans, and we're gonna go and rip the tank out of this thing. I got a new one on the way, so at least that'll be done for when that gets here. And then after we get that done, I'm gonna tear apart the factory seats and get them ready to be recovered. I'm gonna end up doing that myself, but we can look under here and I can show you guys. It's always had this one wet spot, and there's another one on the other side, but we're just gonna replace this thing. It sat for 40 years, so I can only imagine what's in that thing. So I just went ahead and bought a different one. We're gonna have to make it work though, because once again, just like always, you can't buy Pontiac parts. So I bought one for an Impala. It's the same shape and size. It's just the filler neck is different. So we're gonna have to make that work. But I'm gonna crawl under here and we're gonna get that thing out of there. So okay, in a strange turn of events, it looks like these strap bolts might just come off. So we're gonna hit that with the Ugga Dugga machine and see what happens. Come on. Or it'll round off. Come completely. Great. What about you? Let me go find a deep well real quick. Okay, apparently I don't have a 1/2-inch deep well 14, so we're gonna try the little guy and see how he does. No way. That's awesome. And no way. Oh, that smells really bad. Oh my. Okay, it's out. Okay, so maybe there wasn't a hole in it. You probably can't see, but it's got like a 1/2 tank of fuel in it. The fuel line just broke off, as I figured, and the fuel neck just pulled out. So I'm gonna get this drug out of here. Oh my, does it smell bad. All right, maybe you guys can see this outside better. There is fluid in it. Can you see the bottom? It is nothing but rust in there. So we're gonna have to swap that out. But, oh, the plus side, the straps look fine. You see the hole in the floor. But yeah, I still can't believe that these came off. You win some, you lose some. That one, all win. All right, guys, it's now Wednesday, the night before this video goes up, and still nothing in the mail. So I'm at a complete loss on stuff I can do. There's projects that I can do, but I don't want to start yet because they deserve their own video. But the car is now outside. We got the gas tank out. And I had Kyle help me put the hood back on. But unfortunately, that's going to do it for this video. I'm not sure what I'm going to do next week just yet. I want to start on the paint. I got some things that I want to do with it. We're going to redo the roof, kind of patina match it. And then the paint, I think I'm going to buff it. But either way, until we get parts, we're kind of at a standstill on getting this thing running. So I do apologize for saying that in the beginning, that we was going to have it running. I was depending on the mailman, and obviously you shouldn't do that. So I guess we're going to cut it here. I do appreciate you guys watching. Please subscribe if you're new around here. We do this every week. I upload every Thursday at 4 o'clock. So like always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.